adding to your collection?
I think the biggest thing now for me as I've gotten older, it's all about like character. Nowadays, the newer cars, they just don't really they all look the same. They all kind of like just have the same type of personality. So now it's kind of like I'm looking for cars that kind of speak to who I am as an individual and also where I see myself as I get older. There's some BMWs that I still want to get, the BMW E9 and like, these cars that are so hard to find. So now it's just all about like character and also cars that I would want to drive often. I want to drive it. I want to get in there.
Absolutely.
I want to enjoy it. Get some miles on it, and share it with other people when I go out. So, yeah.
What has been the most challenging car to acquire in your collection? And what was the story behind getting it?
The 997. I bought that car from AutoNation in Austin, Texas. It was the worst buying experience I've ever had. I've had over 30 cars in my life, and I bought from many different dealerships. That was the worst buying experience ever. How I found the car, I was looking for a 997. I didn't really care what color because I wanted to do something crazy with it, which I'm no longer doing now, but they had the car listed as guards red and it had it listed as automatic. Both of them were completely inaccurate. With that, it drove the price down. So the listing price was a lot lower because they're automatic and stuff like that. When I called and I asked for photos, they didn't have photos on the website. They sent me photos of the car. I was like, oh, that's not guards red and that's not an automatic. So before they get an idea of like what they did in their errors, I was like, here's deposit. Hold the car, got everything sorted with the finances and stuff like that and did all of the paperwork. But they said they needed to do some checks and get the car ready to be sold and all that stuff because I hopped on it so fast. I didn't think they were going to actually take their time. It literally took over almost 2 months for the car to leave their dealership to come here after I had already paid for it. I was calling their corporate office, their manager. I mean, it was so bad. I got the car here. It wasn't anything that I had expected. I needed a lot of work and I ended up putting a lot of work into it, get it to where it's at now. I'm very happy with it. It's like a labor of love, the overall process, but that was the difficulty in that one for sure.
How do you maintain a balance between owning cars that are for pure enjoyment and those that are more so collector pieces?
Honestly, for me, when I look for a car, I don't really look for low mileage and I don't look for like the perfect pristine car because I don't want to psych myself out to like getting a car and then not driving it. Even when I modify it, like when I had my G80, I did so many modifications to it. I was always working on it. I never drove it, and then when I did, it was just like, whatever. Now I've learned like, all right, find a car that's been driven, find a car that's not perfect, improve it, but also know that, you might have it for a while, you might not. So, I'm not really attached to them. I tend to like at least set myself up for success with not overly glamorizing and putting them on a pedestal or trying to
and
find
knowing what you're getting
one.
into.
Yeah. Cause like if you find like a low mileage, air-cooled Porsche, even if it's a good price, you're automatically going to say, oh, well, it's got low miles. I don't want to put any miles on it. So I'm just not going to drive it. I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy them and have my family enjoy them as well.
Absolutely. Are there any cars that you maybe regret passing on or wish you could have added to your collection?
No, not really. Every time that there was cars that when I was looking for my 997, was cars that I was like, oh, I need to make that happen. It didn't happen. But then when I look back, it's like, wow, well, that was a base model. It was black or silver. And had I not passed those up, I wouldn't have got this color, Carrera S, even though it was a whole process, but it was still worth it in the long run. Right. And then even with this one, looking at air-cooled Porsches, I mean, there's so many. But being able to find one that's a G50 transmission, this unique color, like all the cars are red and I didn't try to make it red.
Right.
It was like, we actually wanted a yellow one, built out a yellow Porsche, but they stopped making yellow in 2024. I was like, what's your second choice? And we went with red. Same thing, red and red. It's crazy. But now we're hooked. We love them. I don't really have any regrets. I think they all kind of
happen how they're supposed to.
Exactly. When it falls through, it's like, all right, well,